Welcome to the first episode of season two of Portfolio Talks. It's season two. We're in 2025. New year, same us, same great show. If you haven't yet already, make sure you subscribe, like, share to your friends and family. Anyone that you can think that needs to get more financially literate and doesn't have the opportunity to have conversations around money around them, here's a chance for you to have those conversations brought to you through your phone at your fingertips in whatever way that you like. So I have Mike, I have Tyson, I'm Vishal. And this is the show that we're going to talk about everything that's going on crazy with politics in North America right now. So it's hot, it's spicy. Let's jump right into it. Mike, what is your opinion on things going on right now?
Well, we all know it's chaos, especially in Canada. But politically, we're not going to get this settled for 5 or 6 months. In the meantime, we have somebody who's moving into power in the US that's going to be trying to screw with us as much as possible. And I think from a financial planning point of view, it's a key time to really review where you're at and have yourself set up to either protect yourself or take advantage. And I think it's there's never been a time that I can think of where it's this chaotic and nutty. So, Tyson, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of opportunity in the chaos, and it's very easy for clients to get distracted by the newsreel. That's all doom and gloom. They never report on something positive, and so the doom and gloom can make you feel like that's what's happening in your financial plan, in your portfolio, in your investments, and that's often not the case. So this can be some of the best times to buy, and we just think of like the last two or three that we had. In 2022, we had a massive dip at the end of the year. In 2020, in March, when they had lockdowns and everything was like chaotic, markets went down 38%, but they also went up like 40% after that. So if you have a good plan and you stick to your plan, things are going to work out for you. But yeah, chaos, it gives people fear, but it also gives opportunity for you to get ahead.
It's crazy. And for those that don't know, I don't know who would not know right now, but basically what we're referencing is in Canada, Trudeau has quit, stepped down, really got fired pretty much. That end of it is what kind of happened by his own party, and they have shut down Parliament. Um, an oversimplification because you hear all these words of like kind of what's going on, you get confused of what's happening. Basically, they're pausing everything to make sure that the Liberal Party has a shot of trying to get reelected, and that's what they're doing. They're trying to buy time, calm things down, bring somebody new to lead the party, and hopefully hoping that they can counteract all the negative, press and energy that they've gone because they've never really pulled as low as possible. So Liberals are super unpopular in Canada right now. They're pausing things, stopping all parliamentary activity, trying to find a new leader that will allow them to become relevant and hopefully liked again. And conservatives are trying to really make the election happen sooner because they want to get into power because it's like that saying, strike where the iron is hot. The crazy thing is in Canada, there's a lot of language, and we'll talk about this in a second. But the CRA is still moving forward with some of those changes. A lot of people thought that since Parliament is suspended, a lot of the bills and all that kind of stuff that was happening is going to be paused. But the CRA is like, no, we're still going to get our money, and we're going through with it. So that's all the craziness and the timing. A lot of people say couldn't be worse, and in my opinion, the timing couldn't have been worse because Trump is coming into power in like a week or so, 2 weeks, I guess.
Yeah, on the 20th.
Um, on the 20th, right? Yeah. So it's crazy. Trudeau probably should have stepped away a lot longer. If you were going to pause Parliament, you should have given that run time. So hopefully your party can have a new leader to have this conversation when Trump is coming in. At least you have somebody, because right now it's kind of like a vacuum of all these political voices because everyone knows that Trudeau's not there anymore. No one's going to listen to him. Uh, Trump is saying all these random things, and every political leader, like Doug Ford's, like, as long as I'm here, like nothing that happened. It's like, bro, you're not even here. Like, you don't even run the party. Like, what's happening? So it's just chaotic. Everyone's talking about a bunch of different stuff. So that's one thing. And then all the language around Trump is that, the 51st state or whatever you're trying to, bring over Canada. And then the other conversation, I don't know if you guys have heard about it yet, but there's that conversation about making Canada and the US have like a universal currency, kind of like how the EU has. And that's another thing as well. So that's a very quick shotgun approach of all the things that are happening. But you know, that's my opinion on how things are going in parliamentary suspension. What do you guys think? I guess, Tyson, have you heard about like what Syria is still passing and what they paused?
Yeah, so in terms of like what's passing and what's paused, my understanding is that nothing is paused. And so everything's going to continue behind the scenes. So like the big one that happened in 2024 was capital gains inclusion increased. And so people were thinking because the current government is looking like they're dead, that that bill is dead, and that's just not the case. So nothing has actually changed. And that's actually one thing that I want to layer on top of what you just said is the news and the media cycle says Trudeau resigned and he's fired, he stepped away. But what he actually said was he intends to resign once they elect a new leader. So he didn't accept blame for anything that he may or may not have done, and he didn't take any action. So it was just more political talk and nothing changes. But we have a pause in government where historically things like this happen. He's going to appoint all of his best friends to positions of power. He's going to give up contracts. He's going to spend more money on his way out the door. And so it sounds like we're getting a change of government, but really we get the same thing that we've had for the last, what, 9 years until they have a new liberal election, which might not be until May or April or June or however long it takes for them to get their stuff together.
Yeah, and on top of that, I mean, what's really important is the numbers. Right now, our inflation is under control. We're below 2%, which is the target the Bank of Canada works on. The US is not, though, and they're still sitting up in the 2.83% range. So we're in this weird place because the Bank of Canada has been dropping prime and we expect it to drop another quarter here in January. But every time they do that now, the Canadian dollar is dropping too because people are pulling money out, obviously with political turmoil. That doesn't give confidence to people who want to invest in Canada. So the dollar is getting killed. And that's going to affect all of us. And guess what? When you buy items that are more expensive now because of that, you're adding inflation. So
Yep.
we could bring our inflation back basically. And also Trudeau's, like you said, wasting money on more stupid things. And there's a real danger there for our inflation to come back. But even if it doesn't, if our numbers stay low like they have been, the US is a big problem because their markets aren't sure how to take this Trump tariff talk and all these different things. So they're expecting some inflation to increase or at least stay the same. And that hurts us because if we're usually lockstep with them and we're not right now. So it's a very strange time. So for all of us, it's going to hurt our pocketbooks whenever you buy anything that's foreign because our dollar's been dropping. It also affects rates. I mean, we are expecting prime to come down, maybe not as far as we were expecting 2 or 3 months ago. But we do expect a 0.25% drop here in January. But that affects all of us. Our car loans, our lines of credit, all those things are based on prime. And in the meantime, the fixed rates in Canada are lockstep with the US fixed rates. So their 10-year bond yield is it's exactly the same as our 5. It's weird. Every time theirs moves, ours moves. So fixed rates haven't come down. They actually went up a little bit, and we don't expect them to come down very far. So a lot of people thought, oh, rates will be down by next year. All of them are going to be down. No, I mean, this is where having a plan, whether it's your mortgage or financial plan, I think staying on the ball and keeping your eye on the prize is super important. Like you said, don't watch the media. Don't listen to the crap that's going on there. Keep an eye on things. But I think I forget who said it, but like you buy when nobody else is and you sell when everybody else isn't. So
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, it's funny talking about like how Trudeau's going to give all these contracts. It reminds me of like when I left my job at Best Buy when I was younger. On my way out, I was like, all right, sick. I'm going to approve everyone's vacation. I was like, no problem. You got vacation approved, approved. I approved everyone's vacation on the way out the door. I bought all my stuff. I wanted on staff. I was like, I don't need a new laptop. I don't buy one. Had all these chargers, all these phone cases. I was like, why not? Like I have it. So it's kind of like the same thing, but it's tough. It's a tough time because exactly to your point, there's so many different things that are being balanced. Like the Canadian dollar is so bad, so foreign investment is so bad because why would you put money in the economy that has a crazy leadership fight that's happening? So the confidence is low. Our interest rates are lower than the states, so a lot of the currency foreign investments will just sit in the states as well. That hurts our dollar. So then the answer to not lower interest rates or slow that down, but then cost of living is so much harder because now anything that you import, which is pretty much everything that we have, it has less and less buying power. So it's tough. It's a tough time of what's going on, but At the end of the day, as long as you have a strategy, very rarely do people out there have a strategy that's like 6 months to a year out. Usually it's a little bit further than that. Even if it's home ownership, it's usually further than that, a couple of years for the most part. So you have time to absorb the volatility that happens in the marketplace. And just really is realize, guys, if you're watching this, like just control what you can control. A lot of people trying to polarize all these conversations and get so upset. The one thing I freaking hate when I look at social media is when people get so angry about, whether you're conservative, whether you're liberal, who you vote for, who you stand by, and they're like, oh, like, you're virtue signaling and stuff like that. It reminds me of the states mentality, which Canada never used to be like that, in my opinion. Like, at the end of the day, I don't care who anybody votes for. Like, you're still a Canadian, you're still my neighbor, you're still my friend, you're still my cousin, still my family. It's all good. Everyone has their own inherent right to vote for whoever they want. Don't change your opinions. Don't change the way you navigate your life based on someone. Like, all these political leaders don't care about you, don't know you, will never recognize or remember you. So it's like celebrity. People get so hung up on every word they say. They don't care about you at all. Who does care about you and who's going to impact your life is the people that you see on a day-to-day basis. So don't let or your left, your right, or whatever change how you live your life. Control what you can control, work your job, do a great job, spend less than you make, invest the difference, towards your goals, and you'll be okay for the most part. But it's just, to you guys' point, the news cycle is insane. There's so much craziness that's happening right now.
Tyson, what are some tips people can think about in this time period, like small things they can do?
Yeah, I think this is something where this might be a time where your parents' generation is proven right. And so those baby boomers that went through the Depression era, coming out of like World War II, and their families have been impacted, and you see their long-term effects of the trauma of going through a depression. They save things, they spend less than they make, they reuse stuff. I think they value things more than some of the younger generations. So that would be like Gen X and below, where we're raised in a consumerism cycle. And now it's like we have fast fashion and we have Prime, we can get something in a day. And I don't think that we value things as much, where older generations, they would buy something based on value and keep it. And I think that this may be one of those times where we get to bring some of those values back, hopefully. Um, and it you get to be more like within a budget. You get to control some things more in your household. And there may be some tough talks that need to be had, because if one partner realizes that and then your spouse doesn't, or your kids don't, like, hey, maybe we don't take 3 vacations this year. Maybe we take one. Maybe we don't take a $20,000 vacation. Times are tight, and we take a $5,000 vacation. And you can still do things, but I think we might see more creativity in households in order to make the budget fit and the lifestyle fit and certain things. So I think the time may be coming where we don't have our depression, but we may be in recessionary times where it could be a good idea to keep more of your cash and not dampen your lifestyle, but maybe turn it down a little bit.
I agree. I think it's a great time. I mean, we weren't in a great year last year either, but most people probably adjusted somewhat. But I think even more so, budget's super important. It's January. If you're going back to the gym, write yourself a budget too. Now you're really on track. The other thing to think about is, if you had plans to buy or do things, maybe postpone, push it off. Like you said, save more, have a little more cash on hand. Don't spend as much as you used to, and maybe be prepared to pay down your mortgage or definitely your credit cards or any other debt. You should be trying to get rid of that as quickly as possible. But even your mortgage, you should start to think about, if rates aren't going to be down very much or are going to potentially go up in the future, be aware of that and make extra payments on it and try and get it down to a manageable level. And none of that's much cowbell. It's not the fun talk, but it's also the reality of our scenario. Be much better to survive 2025 if it turns out to be nasty with some money in the bank than it would be to end up 2025 more in debt with credit cards and and feel terrible about where you're at because the world hasn't fixed anything. I mean, like you guys
Yeah.
said, you can only control what you control, and but at least make the effort to do that and look at it. And I think, that's not the happiest message, but I think it's the smart message.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I agree. Everything that you just said is totally right. It's man, having more control. Like if we think about if some people are waiting in a year to be bad so that the stock market crashes so that they can buy the dip, but the things that we don't see is I think there's $7 trillion in money markets in North America that's waiting for that as well. And
Yeah.
that's going to even out the playing field. But it also that's what's happening kind of like in our real estate market is people are waiting for the real estate market to dip in BC. And it's been what 15 years or 20 years that we've had a straight like shot to the top. And we're probably not going to see that pullback because now people have equity where they can pull that out anytime there's a dip. So I think, yeah, have a really good grasp, have a conservative plan, and have a plan if everything goes good, and have a plan if things don't go so good.
Yeah, you guys nailed it all. The only thing I would add is for those of you that are watching it, that's like, man, I hate hearing about budget. Like, I can never stick to a budget. I've said it, 6 years in a row, and I just never look at it again. I would say start with automation. Start with automating your savings. So, what is your goal? Is your goal to Mike's point, just to have a larger rainy day fund, to make sure that if things go wrong, that you're okay? Is your goal to pay off credit card debt? Is your goal to save towards a down payment? Is your goal to saving for a wedding, a vacation, a dog, like whatever that may be? Figure out what that money is. Figure out what your time frame is. Do that math to figure out how much you need to put away to get there in a year and a half or whatever, and automate it. There has never been an easier time to have technology work for you instead of against you. And now is the time to have it work for you. So through your banking apps, through all your providers, you can set up automated transfers from your checkings account to a savings account. And there's so many different ones that are free. So you do not have to pay $4 a month for another side account. You can use like Equitable Bank, Tangerine. I mean, the Manulife Bank. There's so many online banks that have $0 banking fees. So you can open up an account, automate your transfers going into it, and set up like a bill payment. And you don't really have to set a budget, and your goals can be working. Your money can be working towards your goals because you've realized, all right, I want to have a vacation by that, end of year. So I got to put away $150 a month. Set up that automated transfer. So your money comes in for your paycheck. Your money goes out based on whatever goals that you want. So that 150 comes out, and then your taxes and all the other stuff, and then you spend whatever's left over. Because I've noticed that a lot of people have a hard time with their budget because they just spend their money and they're like, okay, well, I budgeted, so now I've realized that I messed up, but what can I do? It's already happened. So instead, change the sequence of where your money goes. Instead of having your money come in, taxes come out, all your bills come out, and then you spend money and then you try and scrape whatever is left over. Switch it so your money comes in, taxes will always come out. After that, have your savings come out. So pay yourself towards whatever your goals are going to be, have all your bills come out, and then spend whatever's left over. And what will happen is you won't have as much guilt on spending on things because I've already put away my 150 for vacation. I've already put away my 200 for my TFSA or whatever your goals are going to be. And then you live a happier, simpler life. So if you're someone that has a hard time with a budget, use technology, automate, 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 and it'll make your life a lot easier.
Love it. I think that's so true.
Love it. So we wanted to be quick here today. There's just a lot of craziness that's happening in the marketplace. I think the message from myself, Mike Tyson, is stay the course, focus on controlling what you can control. There's a lot of craziness that's happening in the world. Does all of it affect you? Probably not. Is it easy to let all of it affect you? Very much so. So it's very important to protect your mindset, be kind to everyone around you. Don't get angry about all the political drama that's happening and all the polarization. They're still your friends, they're still your family, they're still your neighbors. You have us to teach you about finances. Any question you have, let us know. But start planning for a better 2025 because the year just started. So there's a lot of positivity that's happening around that. And as always, if you got value from this, if you think that someone that could benefit from this, share it to them, save, subscribe, like all the stuff that is available. Really just helps us grow this channel, keep on doing what we're doing. So I appreciate everyone. Tyson, Mike, anything to add?
No, it's just you can end the year in a happy way because you've met your goals, and or not. It's up to you.
Yeah, Tyson,
Yeah.
anything?
No, I agree. I think 2025 is going to be a good year, and it is what you make it. And I think as bad as the news cycle makes it seem, it's actually going to be pretty good.
Love it. All right, everyone, have a great day.